Hello and welcome to another episode of me talking about Colombia. In the previous video, we talked about how Colombia is divided into 5 regions, regiones. We saw the Caribbean region and Pacific region, which are the coastline of the country. Each region is divided into what we call departamentos, and each departamento has a capital city. Today I wanted to talk about la región Amazónica and Orinoquia. Both of these, as you can see, are quite big, however, they have the lowest population. Starting with la región Amazónica, which is about 40% of the Colombian territory, shares the name with the rainforest and the river. This name was given by the colonizers when they saw an indigenous man, probably with long hair, and they thought it was a woman, and they recall the Amazons from Greek mythology. This region has 6 departamentos, starting with Putumayo, limits with Ecuador and Peru. Here you can find the river Putumayo, as well as the indigenous groups such as the Cofanes and Sionas. The capital of Putumayo is Mocoa and has its own carnaval. Then we have Caquetá, known for the national parks, the river Caquetá and la Serranía de Chiviriquete. This is known for the casual ranch and the rubber production, and it is the 3rd largest departamento of the country. The capital is Florencia, which is a theme between other parts of Latin America, places that share the name with places in Europe. Next we have Guaviare. Here you can find the river Guaviare and the indigenous groups of the Guayaberos and Nucac. It is known for the agriculture and the leather production. The capital is San José del Guaviare. Next we have Guainía, limits with Venezuela and Brazil, and it is known for the production of rubber. And it is part of something known as the Guyana Shield and Highlands, an over billion-year-old piece of literally earth that touches this departamento alongside another one, plus Venezuela, Brazil, Guyana, Suriname and French Guiana. This is something that I had no idea, so I thought it was quite cool. The capital of Guainía is Inírida. Next we have Baupés, limits with Brazil. Here you can find the river Baupés. This zone is known for the agriculture. When I mean agriculture in this region, I'm talking about things like yuca, maíz, and plátano. Here you can also find the indigenous groups of the Cubeos, the Sanos, and Tucanos. The capital of Baupés is Mitu. Last, we have Amazonas, the biggest departamento of the country, as well as the most southern part. Limits with Peru and Brazil, and you can find the indigenous groups such as the Cunas, Huitotos, and Yaguas. The capital of Amazonas is Leticia. So, quick rundown. We have 6 departamentos: Putumayo, capital Mocoa; Caquetá with Florencia; Guaviare, San José del Guaviare; Guainía, Inírida; Baupés, Mitu; and Amazonas, Leticia. This region is quite interesting because even as a Colombian, it's a region that is quite hard to explain. As you can see, there are a lot of water resources, which usually indicates a lot of people. However, these groups are quite small, so we cannot really talk about a unifying culture. While with the other regions I can point out clothing or dishes or music, in this case you would have to go into each community in order to actually know more about them. This is a very interesting region also because of the ecosystem. It goes all the way from the Andes to the rainforest. So you have a lot of ecosystems, so a lot of wildlife. Also, I'd like to remind you that these maps, I put the rivers that are inside of the country. However, these rivers also touch the other countries surrounding Colombia. And similarly, the culture also is shared between these countries and these communities. If you want to visit, you are absolutely welcome to. You should check it out. You have to arrive by train or by water because you cannot just drive there. But you can. One thing though, I would highly recommend you to check not only what the country says, but also what these communities say. Sometimes we need to be respectful, and it is important to learn to accept that some things have to be enjoyed from afar. For all the other places, feel free to visit. Next we have la región Orinoquia. This name is given by the river Orinoco that limits with Venezuela. This is actually the 4th largest river by discharge, aka volume of water in the world. And la región Orinoquia limits with la región Amazónica thanks to the river Guaviare. This is a very interesting zone because these are the plain lands. You have La Cordillera and then you have this overall plain area of Colombia. that we call llanos. Also, this area is on the eastern side of the country, so we call that Llanos Orientales. La región Orinoquia has just 4 departamentos. Starting with Bichada, limits with Venezuela, and it is part of the Guyana Shield. It is the second largest departamento of the country, so the first one was Amazonas, the second one is Bichada, and the third one is Caquetá. Here you can also find a lot of indigenous reserves. And the capital of Bichada is Puerto Carreño. Next we have Meta, known for the national parks, the river Meta, and la Sierra de la Macarena. The capital of Meta is Villavicencio, which is interesting because I've been there. I visited there long ago with some relatives and no photos were taken, so it just lives in the memories of those of us who were there. However, it is beautiful, it is a great city, and a great one if you want to visit this area. It's a great example of the culture of this region. Next we have Casanare, known for the cattle ranch and the agriculture, in particularly of rice, so much so that there is a festival of rice. Also you can find indigenous groups of the Cuiva and Sucuani. The capital of Casanare is Chopal. Then we have Arauca, limits with Venezuela, known for the agriculture, and here you can find la Sierra Nevada del Cocuy, which is a glacier. And the capital is Arauca. Quick rundown, la región Orinoquia has 4 regions. Bichada, capital Puerto Carreño, that as you can see, it's quite close to Venezuela. Meta, Villavicencio. Casanare, Yopal. And Arauca, Arauca. This is a fascinating region for a lot of teams, especially because of the llanos. And in fact, the people that live here are called llaneros, which are basically the cowboys of Colombia. This is one of those cases in which the culture of the llaneros, it is quite common ground with Venezuela. So from the Andes to the plains, this is a beautiful place and has a lot of interesting stuff. The clothing is overall quite open and comfortable, and the music is called música llanera, which is known for being quite fast-paced. And the dance called joropo, you can see the tournaments of joropo, which are quite high energy. Also, here you can find what is known as chigüiros or capibaras. These are the chill dudes of the animal kingdom, and I remember visiting a reserve, sort of, and I genuinely thought they were soft, and I was able to touch them, and I found out they are not soft. But fun fact, we do eat them. Now we don't eat them as much, there is a lot more regulation and limitations, but it used to be quite a common dish. This is a beautiful region alongside the Amazonica. It might be 2 of the regions that are less known in terms of global knowledge. But even as a Colombia, there are many aspects about these regions that are a little bit hard to explain because of how the geography alongside the various communities are placed. But it is absolutely beautiful, and I would highly recommend you if you get to visit. So which one of these cities or which one of these areas would you think would be nice to visit? Or maybe if you have been there, what were your thoughts? Any case, see you next time to see the last region of Colombia, which is La Región Andina. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.